an officer who killed a black gentleman, and it has created a huge national anger, national tension. So right now, they're doing like a 3-day protest. They did one yesterday. Then they did one in front of the Austin Police Department, which is literally literally next to us. So we were here all morning to make sure, there was looting involved in some of the protests around the U.S. So we were a little scared that they were going to try to attack our building, but you know what? People love wine, so we were pretty safe.
Thank goodness.
We were playing the Beatles come together. People were having a decent time. So we actually, they say no what is it? No press is bad press, and we definitely were in the face of a lot of people's phones today. So I guess free marketing. I don't know.
Well, definitely be safe out there.
Thank you, yeah, man. But other than that, this is our second weekend opening up, and people are starting to hear about Wanderlust Wine Company. So we're excited. We had a good crowd last night. We're hoping to get an even bigger crowd today. And next weekend is going to be our soft launch. So we're going to have a lot of people on site. And then Mauricio, to give you a quick, it looks like most of us are already on. We're waiting for you, Thomas. So we'll get this going real quick. But Mauricio, I was telling most of the people on the call already know, so I'll just give you the brief overview. And I could do it in Spanish if you want. It's up to you. Estaba hablando con mi amigo Carlos Parrodi. Él trabaja para Domecq. Ajá. Y también con el consejo de, ¿cómo se llama? CCBM, Consejo
Mexicano Vitivinícola.
Yes. Entonces, les estaba interesando ver más sobre nuestro concepto, que es vinos de llave a la presión. We were trying to say keg wine in Spanish, but we couldn't find a definition, because they in Mexico they call it vinos de barril, I guess, like barrel wine, which is very misleading. But as you can tell, we have all these wines on tap, and so people come in and they serve their own wine, so they're only paying for what they serve themselves. But let's peek outside. I'll give you guys a quick view of what's going on. So we're right here downtown and in the back. Let's see if I could make it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's downtown Austin right now with the protests. But we're doing good. And so Mauricio, we were talking to the Mexican Wine Council because we wanted to see if we can get you guys in Mexico rallied up to bring keg wines, or begin doing keg wines. And so Goodies is maybe interested in other people like this. So it's I was even telling Thomas about it on the call.
Yeah, so we can do that. We done it before.
Oh, let's go. Bring it over, baby. We'll serve it here. Thomas, send it to Serendipity. There you go.
Look, if Mauricio can put it in a keg, getting it over here it's not an issue.
Done deal. We can do it right away.
If not, just bring it through. I'm from McAllen, so Reynosa. Just bring it through Reynosa, and we'll pick it up, and then we'll bring it over. We've got a big enough truck. We'll say it's ET. We'll hide it.
What kind of cakes are you using now?
We have it all right now, which, as Chris has had to deal with me a little bit with the connection. So we are using mainly stainless steel, so acero inoxidable, los key kegs que son de plástico, y los pet kegs que son también de plástico, pero con otro diseño. So,
because plastic can work better, so you don't need to return the keg. So you just
we can use that for sure. It's not a problem. So
because of the border, no?
Because of the transport logistics, like you said, it's easier for you. You don't have to collect anything. You don't have to invest in an expensive keg. But and that's been funny. And I'll do an overall class one day, hopefully on site. But if not, you guys, Jake and Richard, if you guys are ever interested in doing like a master class on alternative and innovative packaging for wine geeks, that we can learn more. But essentially, it just makes it's funny because the reason why people are going into kegs is because it's more eco-friendly and sustainable. So when you put it in plastic, people are always like, well, we're trying to get rid of plastic. Yeah, they're kind of they're like, oh, come on, don't be a hypocrite. But you're still helping preserve a lot from the landfill. And in most states, you can in fact recycle these.
Recycle it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you still can use stainless steel or metal kegs, but you need to sell it or something. Otherwise, it will be too expensive just to send it because of the border. We cannot get it crossed back if it's been already unused, you know?
Oh, yeah, I see.
But I know the craft beer guys that were selling into San Diego, they're all using the one-way recyclable kegs.
Yeah, that works for us too.
We would want to use exactly the same thing because there's already not a system in place, but there's already, in terms of dealing with the not export companies, but like the customs agents, all of that, they're used to seeing that come across already. So we could very easily do that with Roberto Gallegos. So it'd just be a matter of quantity, how many we have to bring over. I can store it in a temperature controlled facility. I don't think serendipity would have an issue. So yeah, I don't see where that would be a problem.
And you guys already work together, no? Thomas and Chris, obviously you guys, so there's already a relationship with the brand, so.
Yeah, but actually your color looks a lot better. Your camera.
Oh, really? Oh.
I think Chris is on mute.
I'm not, I just, it's hard to hear me. He spilled some wine on his mic, so. No, I don't know. Dang. I think you can also, Chris, if you can use your phone, you can dial in using your phone. Maybe that can also work, like just the voice part. But
I was going to ask Mauricio, which state do you make your wines in?
Sorry, which states?
Yes.
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Baja Norte.
Baja Norte.
Baja Norte. Okay. We have one of our members goes every year to Querétaro for a wine festival called Los Cienes, and it's she's bringing people from Austin down there to go see that. She's done it like 3 or 4 years in a row now.
It should be La Redonda, 100 Vinos Mexicanos, no?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
It's a big event that started, I guess, like 10 years ago. Very small, like a few wineries, and now they call it since then 100 Vinos Mexicanos, which is Mexican wines.
Yeah.
But today they probably, I don't know, 60, 80 wineries. There are more than 100 wines, but it grows a lot, the event, and it's very near to Mexico City, so it's a big crowd in that zone of Mexico. So it's very, very busy that weekend on La Redonda.
Yeah, so she has these special suitcases that she fills and she brings back with a lot of really good wine from Mexico. And she did a really nice dinner for us. And it was all like 6 or 7 courses of Mexican food, and she paired it with different wines from Mexico. It was fantastic.
Well, that's great. As I mentioned, they started with Mexican wines, but now, 10 years ago, wasn't many wineries from Querétaro. But now there are many in Zacatecas, Coahuila, Chihuahua, Baja California. So now they're emerging so many zones in Mexico again with wine. So it's turning out very well now for everyone. Before you mentioned Mexican wine, it was all from Baja California, about 90%, and now every year is less. We produce more, but the rest of Mexico also. So we are not any more than 90%. Maybe we are now at the 70% or even less than that now.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So a few more minutes and we get to start drinking your wine.
Sammy, is there a certain format or way that that's done? I mean, just that we kind of have to know the best way to kind of interact.
All right, there it is. No more sound issues. Yes, perfect. Well, that looks like it's We're going to be most of the crew. We might get one or two more people jumping in. And we are also live on Facebook and in the Austin, Texas Wine Society, as well as my page. So hopefully we get some viewers. And if they have any questions, please, guys, shoot them our way. We'll go ahead and ask Mauricio and Thomas. Mauricio Cantu from Madera 5, which is also known as Cava Aragon, or is it two separate companies?
Actually, Cava Aragon 126, that's the entity, the corporation.
Oh, gotcha.
Our brand and how the people know us is for our brand and wine, which is Madera 5.
Awesome. And well, we finally got the last person, so perfect timing. What's up, Harry?
Hey. Howdy.
Perfect. All right, so everybody grab some. We're going to start off with the Chardonnay. We've got the 2018 Madera 5 Sauvignon and Chardonnay. Got some in my glass right now. And I'll preface by saying thank you so much, Mauricio and Thomas, for making this happen, along with Chris. I'm Sammy. I'm from the Austin, Texas Wine Society. I'll pass it over to Jake and Richard, do a little intro as well. And Josh is also on the call, I think. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. So, hey, I want to appreciate you for coming out. We are the Austin, Texas Wine Society, a group of people in the Austin area that love wine. And we got over 700 members in a private group that we are posting this Facebook Live. I'm one of the founders. Richard is one of the founders. My brother Josh is one of the founders. And we got some members in the societies of the High Table, Sammy, Alicia. We got, where's Tal? There's Tal. And of course, Rob Brown over here, who has been on every single call. I just want to thank him so much.
Sir.
You know, this is our 11th one that we've done since coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever you want to call it. But we have had some fun in the last 11 weeks with tasting wines from around the world and in Texas. And I'm looking forward to this particular wine out in Mexico. I think this is a great addition to this series. And looking forward to you telling us your story and all about your wine and everything that you know and everything that you want to tell us. So thank you again for coming on to the call.
Thank you all guys. And we started like a very informal way, but let me introduce myself. My name is Mauricio Cantu, and nice to meet all of you. And that's also for me, it's something new, very different. Used to do everything in person. Now those last weeks we've been meeting all day long and by Zoom, so it will be a new experience. So let's learn together to do those kind of meetings. Probably you got more experience than I do, but I will do my best. And Tomas is pretty good too.
Gracias, Mauricio.
Yeah, well, thank you so much once again. I mean, this is exciting. We're having to readapt and reinvent our the way we drink wine and share wine with others. So this is exciting to feature you at the end of season 1 per se, because we're having to evolve it now to maybe a little bit more on premise. So we're excited to do it with Madera 5. The reason why I was so excited, so I actually was there with the OIV, what was it, last March 2019. We were learning all about the wines from there. And as we will start going through these wines, I mean, we definitely want your expertise, but right off the bat, as we're trying to taste this Chardonnay, for example, in any Mexican wine from Baja California and Ensenada area, we'll notice a high level of salinity, or some people would say minerality, in these wines, which is incredible. This really defines for me the wines that you would get from this region. And it's just outstanding. It's a wine that you can either sip on its own, or, you know, have it as a food beverage, you know, something that you can pair with wine, a gastronomic wine, if you will. So Mauricio, with that, I give you the floor. We'd love to learn all about your story with the other 4 guys, right? Because it's a group of 5 for Madera 5. And then your story with the winery, as well as, you know, anything cool that we can know about you as an awesome winemaker of Mexico City.
Yes, I will start talking a little bit about our winery, the small winery. And some of you guys already know few things. I'm sorry, because I guess it's another folks that never been around, and I have to go through pretty much to give a very quick idea where we are and what we do, no? So Madera 5, that's a very small winery that we founded, me and another 4 of my good friends. we have many good friends around, but it was kind of impossible to have all together. So we decided a group of five make this wine for ourselves back in 2007, sorry, as commercial. And before we do it just for practice. But Ensenada, the wine is always been around. As you know, one of the oldest winery is Santo Tomas, which is from 130 years from the missions. That's when they started around. And now everybody talks about the Ensenada wine. They're talking about the Guadalupe Valley, but probably you don't know, Ensenada is surrounded by valleys. At the east is Guadalupe Valley, but little further than that, towards Tecate to the border with California is Valle de las Palmas. From Ensenada to the east is Ojos Negros, and when you're going south, you have Santo Tomas, La Grulla, and San Vicente Valley. So we have a few valleys around, and the characteristic of the wines are very different. And as you were mentioned, there are a few characteristics that pretty much talks about our wines, and that's the way we are, and we try to do our best, and every time make better and nicer wines. But we have this personality that define us on the wine, no? So going back to our winery, we started doing wine in 2007 as a small project, as many of the projects, at least our project start on the garage. We started doing our wine in one garage and one house. That's why your winery name is Cava Aragon 126. What it really means is the house where we started is the street Aragon, and the number of the house is 126. So we named the company because of the address of our garage. We are not anymore in the garage. We got a small winery in El Sausal. And the grapes or wine pretty much come from the south, which is San Vicente, La Grulla, pretty much from those valleys, very little from Guadalupe. So San Vicente, to give you a precise idea, is 100 kilometers south of Ensenada. And Guadalupe is northeast of Ensenada, maybe like 20 kilometers, something like that. That's where the valleys are, and that's that side of the city. And the vineyards where Madera Cinco bring our fruit is Rincón de Guadalupe, which is in the 105 kilometers the south. 105 kilometers is pretty much like 60 miles. I don't know how it's a distance in Texas, but you're in miles, are you? So, and it's at the south and near and towards to the coast. So all the vineyards has this afternoon breeze every day to make it very fresh and unique. The wine, very crispy wines, and the soil is clay. Pretty much everything there is clay, and because we have different kind of soils around, and another parts are sand, rocks, but over there is pretty much clay. And what we try to do in our small winery, we try to produce very well balanced wines and young wines, very fresh and crispy wines. They're always trying to be ready when you uncork a bottle, and in something very friendly that it will be easy to drink for a woman or man, even if you are not very used to drink wine on daily basis. The feeling when you taste a wine, it have to be very friendly right away. That's what we try to communicate with our label. You see our label is very modern friendly, that we're not trying to make something very special. We're trying to do something that people can enjoy it on everyday basis, no? And every meal. You don't need really very special occasion to uncork one of our bottles. And also our price range have to be close to that too. But as you know, our son, we don't have a lot of water, so we don't produce a lot by hectares. So our price on the fruit, it come out always kind of expensive, and our wines cannot be very cheap because we don't produce a lot. We don't make a volume. Actually, uh, a lot of the wineries around here produce between 3,000 to 10,000 cases a year. That's pretty much the average. And it's just only few big ones, like one very big ones that produce more than 1 million cases or around. And the other ones are like 100,000 cases and 30 or 40,000 cases. But they're maybe 3 or 4. The rest are pretty small wineries, the same as our winery is. I don't know how we doing there in if you have more questions, because I'm just talking and I like to share the talk with you guys.
So actually, while you're here, we love that. So when I picked up my bottles at Sammy's place, he poured me a little bit of it, and the first thing I said was pear. I mean, that's the perfect smell in that. So on my way home, I stopped and picked up some of these. So we're enjoying it with a little bit with pears. So.
Yeah, and the white wine that you're tasting is sort of blend of Sauvignon Blanc with Chardonnay. We use pretty much Sauvignon Blanc and very little Chardonnay. It's not very common, I guess, in the States, but in our zone, we are well known because we like to do blends. Everybody makes a lot of blends. A few folks, they like to use only one grape in a wine, but the rest, we always make blends. And that's kind of our idea. As you know, we don't have rules or anything. And until today, all my friends, what they trying to do, their best wine possible, but we don't have rules. So that's part of the world that people can do pretty much what their feelings are, no?
Well, I was funny that you said that, because I was like, wow, this is the best Chardonnay I've ever had. I'm not big on the the California Chardonnays that are like that buttery type, smell and taste. And I was like, oh my God, I finally found a Chardonnay that I like. And then you mentioned it was a blend. So I'm just gonna say it's, for my taste, hey, if anybody wants to drink Chardonnay, I'm gonna bring that bottle over, if I gotta drink it, because this is amazing.
Yeah, this is a Sauvignon Blanc, around 80. You're drinking the 18. It should be like 85% Sauvignon Blanc and 50% Chardonnay, and it's no oak at all. We always do the fermentation in stainless steel tanks, and stay in the tank pretty much like 3 months, and then we do the bottling. So the idea is that you have something very fresh and crispy, good acidity on mouth, so you can drink it anytime that you want it. Or we use it a lot with ceviches, scallops, clams, everything which is not cooked, because the wine, it doesn't have any tannin from a wood, so it have to be a low flavor, so the food doesn't go over to the wine, or vice versa.
Okay.
And remember, we are on the coast, and our coast is not like the rest of the Mexico. Here, the water is very cold, so we have a product from the sea, very like oysters, a lot of good food. But we are not like people when think in Mexico think like Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, where the weather is very nice and hot. We don't have that kind of weather. Our weather is very cold, so we have the product from the sea that produce the cold waters.
Well, it's definitely a unique white wine for sure. I mean, it's as many white wines as I've tried, you don't really get this uniqueness and this type of taste that I've had. Now I could be totally wrong, but it's really crisp, and it's just it's great.
One of the things that I'll share with you guys, and this is I'm Tom Bracamontes. I'm the importer, La Competencia Imports. One thing that I will tell you, I live here in Napa, and you get used to a certain type of wines or profile. One thing that you will find once you go down to Baja Norte is it challenges your taste buds, because everything that you know about wine, it just grows a little bit differently down in that climate. So a Cabernet is not the same Cabernet that you can find in Napa. Sauvignon Blanc, it's going to be similar, but yet it's different. So the great thing about Baja is if you love wine and you like to explore different flavor profiles, there's no better place, given the way that the region, the fruit grows down there. And then as Mauricio said, with no rules, you can do whatever you want. So you'll find the craziest blends down there that on paper would not seem to make any sense whatsoever. And then you try them and go, I had no idea that Petit Verdot and Zinfandel would work together. So if you're a wine lover, and obviously you guys are part of a wine society, the first thing you got to do is get a group of members and go down to Baja and experience it for yourself. We could taste for 5 hours and it still would just be a tip of the iceberg. So think about a future plan once this all kind of gets safe. Then you're going to take your whole experience to another level.
That tees
One
up a
nice
quick
thing about
question
this
that I
is-
had about that Chard though. I mean, it's predominantly Sauvignon Blanc. So how come it didn't get that kind of label over at Chardonnay?
There
Yeah,
aren't.
that's, you know what? How even if you blend a 5%, the characteristic of those grapes, they're always there. They're not go away. And something that I've been noticing our wines, when we just do the bottling, the Sauvignon Blanc is always there, very strong. And when the time pass, always is looking very slow and slow all the time. The Chardonnay is always at the end, it's always there. But and it's funny how a small percentage can be always there. And you see, if you put just 5 to 10%, 15%, you will never notice. And it's not true. You will notice right away, and you will get that feeling. You know, some people think it is a Chardonnay, and sometimes because we are not much Chardonnay, we couldn't call the wine just Sauvignon Blanc because it's a small percentage, and you are allowed to do that. But we like to show you exactly what we have on the bottle and tell you where the vineyards are, because that's kind of the game on the wine. No, you want to know and learn everything, and you want to know the flavors and how the soil, the weather, how was this year on the rain. And that's kind of like we're trying to do. We started doing this because we like it, just for passion. And me and my other 4 friends, when we started, we have a different activities, professional activity. So we really did it because we like it, not to make a profit out of the wine. So that's kind of what described Madera Cinco until today, that we are have this passion of the wine, and we're trying to do our best possible. And you probably know a lot better than I do because you always taste wines from everywhere as a professional activity. And we produce just one wine, and we try to do our best and express ourselves and our wines. But we taste stuff from all over, but not just for fun, not
Mauricio,
professional. Yes.
Mauricio, let me just jump in. But if you look on the label, the front label, it says Sauvignon and Chardonnay. So it's not labeled as Chardonnay. Gracias. So the one thing you'll find about Mexican wines, or at least from Baja Norte, even though there isn't any rule like the 85-15 rule that we deal with here in Napa, they deal with things more common sense. If it says 100%, if it says Cabernet, 95% of the time it's going to be 100% Cabernet. It's common sense. If it's a blend, they will typically tell you on the front what grapes are involved, or if it gives it a proprietary name on the back of the label, it'll give you the breakdown. So if you see something on a Mexican label and it says Tempranillo and there's nothing else on there, well, what else would it be? Tempranillo. So they don't play around with that 85-15. They will tell you exactly what grapes are in there if it's a blend.
Hey, Mauricio, question. So down in Baja Norte, I mean, what are predominantly grown? Is it predominantly sort of the Bordeaux and, you know, the big French grapes, or is there a lot of experimentation with, you know, Spanish and Italian and Southern France and all that?
It's a lot of there's many types of grapes like Spain, France, Italians. You see, for example, Camilo Magoni, which came to this region when he was like 20 years old. He's now 70, I believe. He has in his vineyard 80 types of grapes, and he has Cabernet from Napa, Cabernet from France, many varied type of grapes from Italy, because obviously he's an Italian guy. So it's a lot of expressions around. That's where you can find almost everything. You can you name it and you find it here.
Mauricio, I think Camilo's actually up to 112 different varietals now.
Oh, you see.
In some cases, it might just be one row just to experiment, but he's got 112 different grape varietals that he grows.
I always think of Baja being kind of an arid area. Is the climate more conducive to the grape?
I didn't hear you very well. Can you repeat it?
I always think of Baja being a kind of a dry and arid area. Is the climate conducive to all these varieties?
Yeah,
Varietals?
it's actually very dry. Some people call it us crazy people because we have vineyards when there's no water. But there's certain areas that has the soil is great for the vineyards, and because it's dry, the grape express a lot. You know, they're very concentrated, so we have a high level of alcohol because there is not enough humidity on the grapes, and they produce, as you know, depends of the sugar on the grape is the alcohol that you will be producing on the wines, and all of flavors are very concentrated, and that's how we make those very nice expression of every grape, every wine. And it's tough, but we've been doing this for many years, and this year we have a good rain, so it's going to be an excellent production for this year, because finally we have a very good year, season of rain. It was good enough to produce wines, but to give you an idea, we probably have like a 25 inches of rain, and if you go to Napa, I don't know, they probably are for 60 or 70, no?
See?
So and we call it was a great year. So get an idea how is the water issue around.
But one thing, Rob, as far as the climate, it's very Mediterranean, because whether you're in, let's say, Valle de Guadalupe, you're maybe 10 miles as a crow flies to the ocean, going east to west, and down to Ensenada, you're about 14 miles. So you're pretty much got that cool sea breeze. And then, as Mauricio said, the vineyards south of Ensenada, they're even a little bit closer to the coast. So they get a lot of that coastal influence. And if it wasn't for that area in proximity to the coast, we might be Temecula in terms of just heat, and not that coolness at night. And that's the one advantage the Valle has.
So I'm intrigued. What prompted you to go ahead and import into Napa? Because I mean, of all places,
You know what? I had worked in the Napa wine industry for the better part of 10 years, and you start to see trends. I mean, look, I love a great Cabernet, but there's only so many people that can afford a $150 bottle of Napa Cab. I saw what was going on in the Mexican gastronomy scene. You saw Rick Bayless literally pop up in every state or every big city in the United States. You saw tequila, you saw mezcal, you saw Mexican beers being very popular. Well, any great restaurant that is focused on a specific cuisine typically has a great wine list to go with it of stuff that matches from that country. I didn't see anything over from Mexico, and it didn't make sense given the proximity. And once I went down there and spent time with guys like Mauricio, and then asking Mauricio, hey, who do you like? Who are your friends? Once you started finding out that the little smaller guys were the ones making the interesting stuff, it wasn't the big guys. The big guys are just making volume. But when you start finding a Madera Cinco, you start finding Bruma and Bodegas Henry Lerton, you started finding all these cool wineries. I didn't get into it for the money. I just thought, wouldn't it be cool to start bringing over something different? And maybe I guessed right, but the market was looking for something new. And Baja was just starting to kind of get the wind behind its back. Every year the wines are improving, and it right place at the right time. I mean, ask Mauricio. He probably thought when I first went down there telling him how I was going to open up all these markets in the States, I'm sure he thought I was crazy, because I was.
Hey, Thomas, it's kind of crazy that you say that. I mean, it's always great to think outside the box, because this is the first time I've ever experienced any wines from Baja, and you're right. I mean, they're great wines, and they're a different, unique thing that I've ever experienced. From California, from France, from whatever region. They're very distinguished, and they got a very differential aspect towards them. And I think you were 100% right on trying to bring these things over to, or these types of wines over to the United States, because wow, I mean, I'm blown away by this specific wine, and it's just a unique taste.
Well, who I give the credit to is I give credit to guys like Madera Cinco and Camilo Magoni and these guys, because I presented crazy ideas and they were like, hey, we're going to support you. We're going to do things that we don't do with anybody else. We'll do whatever it takes to help you break into the US market. So Mauricio, Madera Cinco, Camilo, Lorton, Bruma, they've helped me because we've taken this on as a challenge, working together. Not just guys trying to move boxes. We're trying to establish a new category, new brands. And for me, I love the fact when I see people for the first time and they tell me, oh, I tried Mexican wines 10 years ago. They weren't very good.
Yeah.
At that point, I've already won. By the time I pour you 4 or 5 wines, the distributor is going to pick me up. I'm in 27 states and I'm a one-man operation. Yeah. It doesn't happen unless you got great wines with great stories.
And this was rather, I mean, it's unique. It's originally or early on I got pear. Then here lately, after the bottle's been open a little bit, I'm getting pineapple. But throughout the whole thing, there'd been almost like a touch of sherry into it. I'm a little oxidated quality to it. I mean, it's very different. I've not had anything like this, and it'd be very interesting to find what to pair it with. Now, a lot of wines grow up with the foods that, I mean, that's my big deal is pairings. So, I mean, I don't know the cuisine of Baja, but would you say that these would, so these match up with your seafood, right?
Yes. Yes. It's very common for us to have oysters, escallops, ceviches, what else can I tell you? All kind of food and clams without being cooking, just fresh. And these wines go very well to eat it with that. So that's our Mexico is big, and sometimes people talk about the regional food, but for Baja, which is not the center of South, that's the kind of food that we have. That's what we eat daily basis. Right here at the corner of my office is this little car with clams that you can go eat a cocktail in the morning, and it takes 5 minutes to go there and eat ceviche and come back. And
that sounds really good.
Are you talking about El Gordito?
Yeah, El Gordito.
Of course.
I'm very jealous.
El Gordito is like a 50 meters from my desk where I am right now, which is 150 feet. So that's what it is, that's where we eat and this little stand and on the mornings. So these kind of wines go very well with that kind of food. And I wish you can be here and we can show you all of this, but you will.
Oh, hey, you can count me in. I'm going to be there at some point in time.
We'll make a trip.
Then
see
I'll put together your itinerary.
Yeah.
Let
me explain you this. When I just meet Tomas, I met it. I don't forget. I met it on Viñas de la R with a friend, and they organize a tastings. They say, if anyone has interest, bring a bottle, and let's do a tasting with a guy come from Napa, and it was Tomas. And at that time, we were selling our wines in Mexico, and we are very proud of our wines. And we don't like to sell just to anyone. We like to sell to people that know who we are, where we come from, what we're trying to do. And when I meet Tomas, I say, you know, that guy, he knows what he's doing. He has a Mexican blood that probably feel the same as we feel about our wines. And he will be the right person to carry our wines in the States, because many people approach, but you want the right player. You don't want just someone. I mean, we are not here to be a year. We're here to die making wine. And so Tomas has been very successful and yeah, better than I expect, actually. But even if it was not like that, we were very happy working together, because we hear people, the seller wines, it come out to be your friends finally, you know, and you make a very good relation. Wine is very unique product, because you're happy doing that, and you meet excellent person. Everybody's happy, and it's a good approach. So that's where we try to be, and hang out. If it's gonna be a work, better if you like your work, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, that's for me going down there. I mean, I now have an office and an apartment in Baja, so I'm down there when we're not dealing with this crazy virus. I'm there 2 weeks out of every month. You know, I want to be there for all the harvest festival. I'll tell you what, if you guys ever wanted to really see what happens in Mexico, go down during the harvest season, during all the harvest festivals. You will not have more fun anywhere in the world than down in Mexico. Mexican hospitality is a whole nother level.
And that's a very unique experience, because you can eat all what our chefs that are doing those great things around here. You can taste it and drink our wines, and you will understand a lot, because they go very well. And I don't know, it makes a unique experience. And yes, it's a dry zone, a special zone, but we like pretty much what we do, and hopefully you like our wines the same as that we love it.
They're amazing wines. I mean, this is awesome. So excited about, you know, the uniqueness of this wine, and like I said, I usually take trips to Cancun, and you know what? I'm gonna probably take a trip to Baja and go taste the wines over there.
You guys in Fauna? I know Fauna became like Ensenada's like go-to restaurant. They're like, are they Michelin, or they're like Michelin equivalent?
They're not Michelin star yet. I think the only one that's received a Michelin star would be Drew Deckman, and that was a couple of years ago, right, Mauricio?
Yes, you're
Oh,
correct. But in
there's no
Bruma, you can eat Tomas, how you call it? Tacos of the callo?
The antics.
Oh, scallops, no?
Scallops, tacos. You can believe that guy really make the food
David is increíble.
increíble. Even with Drew Deckman, and also Javier Plasencia Pinca, Traslomita. It's many restaurants. Well, not many, maybe around 10 that you cannot visit, and they cook. It's incredible how what they're doing right now. They're very talented people.
Whatever you thought Mexican cuisine is, once you go down to Baja Norte, it is a completely different experience. I mean, what you get at Fauna, I mean, David used to be at 11 Madison Park, so he's bringing that kind of skill set to Mexico, and not doing necessarily Baja med cuisine, but it's got an underlying Baja kind of feel to it. You look at what Javier Plasencias is doing at Animalon. I mean, this is high-level gastronomy, but with Mexican flair paired with Mexican cuisine. Now, Mauricio, if I remember correctly, like as early as maybe 5-6 years ago, in most places of Mexico, most Mexican restaurants, you didn't see Mexican wines. You saw Italian, Spanish, French, Argentinian, no?
Yes, it's been a hard work, but little by little, Mexican wine is always now in all the restaurants. Is now something that people ask for it.
They're proud.
It used to be just import wine, and now the restaurants want to carry Mexican wine because the people is asking for the Mexican wine. So importers now they carry the Mexican wine because they need to have it.
And if you,
Mauricio, I was just saying, you know, obviously, is it just, I mean, have the wines been always that good and just people are becoming more aware? Or like here in Texas, sort of over the last 5-6 years, the quality of both the growing and the winemaking has increased dramatically.
Yes, and Mexico is every year we learn something and we improve, and it's been better and better. Used to be our wines were bolder and heavier, and now they're more equilibrated, balanced. They're the finest. But it's like you gain experience every year, and you kind of go for something more, something the world can accept, because all the other wines we like it a lot, but it was kind of or local taste, you know, but it wasn't a universal taste. So we're trying to, now Tom is bringing our wines to the States. We like to be according to the market that you're selling to, you know, the people can learn.
More of a stylistic change than necessarily a quality change.
I think what you're seeing, Harry, is you're seeing more subtlety. You're seeing that they're not being overly impressed by these super big alcoholic wines, which were popular, 10 years ago. They're starting to realize that it's,
Yeah.
and then if you also look at Baja cuisine, it's very intricate. It's like, it's not like a lot of beef. You'll have, anything from rabbit to duck to lamb to goat. It's a lot of stuff, and pheasant. You've got stuff that's more subtle. So I think Mexican wines have also been encouraged to don't overpower the guests. Let them enjoy and let that bottle change over the course of the dinner. And now you're seeing, yes, we're just about in every fine dining Mexican restaurant, but we also have like 10 of the wines on the list at the French Laundry. We're also at the Ritz-Carlton. We're also at the Waldorf Astoria in Las Vegas. It's like, yeah, we want to be in every great Mexican restaurant, but great wine is great wine. Interesting wine is interesting wine. And I think that's what Mauricio and all of his colleagues is, they're making wines that are more, they're more worldly. They're more user friendly. They're not just big, brutish, heavy alcoholic red wines anymore.
Yeah, and if you notice, in the Mexican wine now, we always use wood. Pretty much like our wines have like a 12-month that's been aged in French oak and American oak, but we try to just add a little bit of a touch of wood, not to be too much present of the wood, because we like that you can taste or zone or fruit, and it's kind of a good characteristic about the wines around. No one is using a lot of wood anymore. Sometimes it's hard to use a new barrels because you don't want that much presence of the wood. You just want something, a touch of the tannin of the wood, but not too much, not to ruin the wine that you don't taste what we're trying to do.
Hey, Mauricio, do you have your Tempranillo Cabernet in front of you? Because you might as well talk about that right now.
Almost everyone is now in the Tempranillo Cabernet. They're going quick.
Son borrachos.
Yeah, so we just poured the second one here.
Let me tell you something about this wine. When we started in 2007, our winery was too small. It was, as I mentioned earlier, a garage winery or garage project, but it wasn't not even a winery. So at that time, we make only one type of red wine every year. It's much easier when you don't have too many tools to make red wine than white wine. White wine needs a good refrigeration and a good tanks, and you have to control very well the temperature or you will mess up the wine. And so we started doing just red wine, and we make one label every year. In our project, we decided to make, we were new ones in this activity, and we wanted to do a lot of things. So at that time, we decided to make one type of wine different from a different part of the world. So the 2007, we make Cabernet Merlot, trying to do something like French. In 2008, we did this wine, Tempranillo Cabernet, trying to see something like from Spain. And in 2009, we make a Cabernet Sauvignon with Sangiovese, trying to be an Italian blend. So every year we change the blend, but eventually it became a trouble because the restaurants and the store, they said, you know, the customer, they already know your wine, they come up for your wine, and now you come out with a different blend. So we established our line of Madera Cinco with 3 red ones and 1 white. And in the States now we have only 1 red and 1 white. And the Tempranillo Cabernet come out at 2008. And that's or the blend that we decided to stick with it, the Cabernet Merlot, we didn't feel there was something good for us because it was a lot of similar blends, very common blend. And we wanted to do different things, you know, and for those years, it works pretty well for us to make this Tempranillo Cabernet, which has been very successful. Now, a lot of people, when they mention Madera Cinco, they thinking in this wine, and that's something funny because in the States, it will be very easy because we only make 1 red, but in Mexico, we have a Nebbiolo also and Cabernet Sangiovese. But when they mention Madera Cinco, they refer to Tempranillo Cabernet blend. And I guess it's a great wine. The Tempranillo grow very well in Baja California, and our Cabernet too. And it's 60% Tempranillo, 40% Cabernet. It's been in oak for 12 months. And after that, we do the bottling. And the grapes come from Cabernet from La Grulla and Tempranillo from Rincón de Guadalupe, which is at the south of Ensenada.
Better than 10.
Huh? What do you say?
I'm sorry. We've paired this with a 15-year-old cheddar, and it's just going so good.
Yeah, this red is very, very. I like it a lot because it has a wide range of food that you can eat, and it goes very well. You can have a piece of meat, you can have a cheese, sometimes even a pasta, and it's a great wine.
We've got some jamon serrano and some Italian salami, and then this 15-year-old cheddar, and it's just going great with this Tempranillo.
And there's a lot of taste going on. Oh, hello.
Nope.
So the wine itself is very bold. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, we're good. So the wine itself is very bold, but it's very smooth. And then paired with a very sharp cheddar, it's like a lot of flavors going on. Like I feel like there's fireworks in my mouth, like, but it's really good. I very much appreciate your wine.
I always think that our wines goes very well with food pairing, and I think it's that they're great wine for restaurants because you always there, but you don't take the table. You just join. You pairing. So it makes a better experience when you eat a good dish or any food with the wine, and you are not the principal actor or anything. You just go along very well. You know, that's the kind of idea that the wines that we're trying to do.
It's that salinity, man. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. You know, I have never been to any part of the world where, I mean, I obviously grew up in the Valley, grew up with Mexican food. And I don't remember how long ago, probably 3 years ago, I went to a Mexican restaurant when I finally started learning more about wine. And I was like, bring me your finest Chardonnay that's under $30. And they were like, you sure you want some wine? You don't want like a Corona, Dos Equis, Sol? And I was like, no, I want to try some wine with some Mexican food, some tacos. And they're like, and they even got like the assistant general manager, and then they got the general manager. And I was like, I just want some wine, guys, you know? And so there has never been in my experience, especially here on the US, a place in the world where you can really just pair wine with Mexican food. And Ensenada is like the perfect situation where you can see how it actually blends well together. You have your tacos, you have your seafood. I mean, depends what you're trying to grab for that day. But the salinity, just like you said, it doesn't really compete with the wine or with the food, excuse me. It just complements it and accentuates what's already being served in your plate. When I was down there,
so it's picking up with the salinity in the wine. It's oh well.
I mean, you noticed it. I don't know. From my experience, you noticed it in most of the wines there. There was a few that were less pronounced, but I was like, right it on. I mean, this is what distinguishes you guys as a wine region, in terms of a style. But it was funny, like all the wineries that we went to, Monte Chanic, El Cheto, La Lomita, I forget the other ones too. And, you've got all kinds of winemakers, all kinds of wineries down there in Baja and Ensenada area, Valle de Guadalupe. But the name Michel Roland was always on people's mouths. Like, oh yeah, it was like almost like everybody's uncle, It was like Michel Roland came and consulted for my winery, and now I'm producing rock star wines. And whether it's true or not, it's like you guys are doing an amazing job down there. And like I said, I think it's a hidden gem where, especially if you guys are planning any trip somewhere around the world for wine experience, one adventure, it's not can provide, and your dollar will go a little bit further too, I would hope.
You know what, Sammy? It's interesting that you mentioned about Michel Roland, because there was at one point a decent amount of chatter, but I don't think he ended up working with that many people. I mean, I think at one time he had worked with maybe Viñas de Franes. He had talked about with Camilo Magoni, Roganto, and Adobe. But I think that Adobe and Camilo, if I'm not mistaken, after 1 year of consultation, just kind of went in their own direction. So I think Michel Roland came down for the original meeting, but then it was his assistant and his assistant's assistant. And I think people realize that Mexican wines are going to be unique, embrace the uniqueness. In some cases, there can be a slight briny quality, just like wines from Greece or other areas that are near oceans. But I think the guys in Baja are, minimizing that to a degree, because a little bit of briny quality is interesting. A little bit too much is not so good.
And also that's something, and when you want to do better things, you can consult people, but you don't want a Napa from Baja, you don't want a Cab from Baja taste the same as Cab from Napa or from France. So when you're doing the consulting, they're always trying to go to everything taste the same. And you don't really want to do that. You want to have your own taste. I mean, even if you sometimes can like it or not, that's who we are. An American person looks and sound like an American, and Mexicans looks like a Mexican and sound like Mexican. So that's something natural, and you find that you're proud what you are. So that's what we're trying to do. And I like a lot the wines of those guys, but I like more when they come and spend a lot of time here and understand what we do and where we're going, and then join us, and then they come out with a unique products. Like Tomas, that he's spending a couple of weeks every month. Now he's become to be a local,
My Spanish is terrible.
Hey, Tomas, are you familiar with Austin much at all?
What's that?
Are you familiar with Austin much at all?
You know what? I've spent some time in Austin, and I love it. I've always thought that Houston and Austin would be the two markets where it would be most embracing of Mexican wines. So yeah, I mean, I love Austin as a market.
So we have a restaurant that's been here for about 40 years called Fonda San Miguel.
See, I know it well.
Okay, yeah, and they're spectacular.
I wish they carried a larger selection of Mexican wine, because it would make sense.
Well, so they in the last couple of years, they decided to stop carrying any of the sort of corporate brands of tequila.
Right.
So that it's only artisanal tequilas, and even if your favorite one was a big corporate brand, they don't carry it anymore. And so this would be a right market for something like this.
You know what it takes, and this is a blanket statement, not just for Texas, but your distributor really needs to be unafraid to kind of travel a new road. They've got to be unafraid to take in Mexican wines.
Yeah.
Because I know that Mexican wines in the past, quite frankly, weren't very good. I get it. I understand. But
The
that's
same as Texas. Same
Of
as
course.
Texas. 10 years ago, Texas wine was dreadful.
So when I met with Mauricio and all of his colleagues, it wasn't just let's bring in a bunch of brands. We went, which are the wines within everybody's portfolio that if we walk into some place, we're going to be proud of. Because if we change people's perceptions, then you open the market.
Sure.
So if I'm in 25, soon to be 27 states, I know that how that works, but sometimes trying to get a distributor to trust you because they're so used to doing things their own certain way. And once again, I'm not talking specifically about Texas, but you're trying to say, look, guys, I know that's the way you do it, but that's not the way you present Mexican wines. Do it this way.
Yeah.
For somebody like Fondo San Miguel, we should be in there talking to them about how do we create a whole page within their wine list of just the best Mexican wines.
Yeah. Well, their pride had always been, I mean, their dishes always had the state of Mexico that they came from.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's perfect. It would be a perfect combination.
So it's been a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. I think that my distributors as a whole are starting to realize Mexican wines aren't going anywhere. Mexican wines are going to be claiming not just spots at Mexican restaurants, but if I can be at the French Laundry and have 10 wines at the French Laundry with Thomas Keller, there's no place that I can't put a Mexican wine.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely.
Big houses for sure. Mauricio, out of curiosity, so obviously U.S. being neighboring countries is one of your big exports. But is there other countries around the world that really are digging Mexican wine? Because most of the consumption happens within the country, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, very little leaves. So besides U.S., what's a typical state or country that buys Mexican wine? Chinese?
The situation with the Mexican wine is we don't produce enough, and usually we were sold out every year in Mexico. So we went with Tom to the States, trying to sell a little bit to the States without having the need to sell more because we didn't have more wine. And that's one of the reasons we don't export all the labels, because he must have the whole year the wine available. And we start sending another labels, it will be running out of wine eventually. So we're trying to back up to Tom to do it that way. So that's funny, but Mexican wine in Mexico is very strong. It has a very good reputation.
Yeah.
So sometimes people don't want to export because it's easy to sell it in Mexico, and you don't need to get through everything, the customs and everything, and sell it to the States. Besides the States, Canada is always asking for wine, and few other countries at the South and Europe, but more like a curiosity than the real idea to make business besides Canada. But it's not enough wine, to export. You have to support. If Tomas is very successful, you have to have the product so he can sell it. So we try to be very careful, and we do just baby steps because we feel that's the best, and it's going to be better situation for Tomas to don't put all his effort in something that doesn't go anywhere,
And Mauricio, wine culture in Mexico has really grown over the last few years as well.
Yeah.
No?
Yes, it is. It's a lot. And it's wine festivals all over Mexico, and the popularity is growing a lot. And every city, every big city is a few wine festivals every year. I'm not sure if it's that many in the States now. They should be, but now here is too trendy. Every city wants to do a wine festival.
Yeah, I had plans of going to visit De Cantos, their Festival de Bota. And they're a really good friend of my friend. So
Alonso.
Yeah, dude, they've got some great, like you guys were saying, experimentation in Mexican wine production is up there, and he's got some really fun. I mean, he's got so many references. Is that that's not the vineyard that has all the 110 varieties, right?
That's Camilo.
No,
Okay.
that's Camilo Magoni.
So this is Alfonso or Alonso?
Alonso, what Alonso is doing is even if he doesn't have the specific grape, he will purchase from many vineyards, and he's trying to making wine from many different types of wine. He makes an excellent white wines. I like his white wines and rosés too.
You know, I tried his
red ones, but the whites are pretty good.
I tried his wine at Ophelia over a dinner one night. I think you're right. His whites are, I think, I enjoy them more than the reds.
Yes.
He's truly the
There's
mad
another-
scientist in
I
my.
was gonna say there's another market for you. This is making me want lamb kebab. We've got a couple of Lebanese places, and this would work great with that. So now I know they make a lot of their own, but here's a nice alternative.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
Al Pastor is Lebanese, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I tell you what, the more and more this opens up, it's just, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, this is delicious.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we first opened it up, it was like it was
very big.
amazing smell, and then it's just like the more and more it just sits, it's just like
And we also
Smells beautiful.
we have our own kind of the tacos al pastor. Someone mentioned it, and then, it's very common, the meat tacos and tacos al pastor in our zone. Del pastor, we call it. They have a trompo, which is like a wire and all the food around, and they just that's how they serve the del pastor around. It goes very
Yeah, we
well.
do that here. So yeah, so a la parilla, you know, they do it, you know, on a wire, and we have a lot of that now.
Everything what we have parrilla, as you mentioned, how you call it in English, bro? The parrilla.
It's a skewer.
Like skewers.
A grill. A grill.
Grill.
A grill.
Everything that is on grill, like pretty much the Tempranillo. Tempranillo
It does.
somehow take the smoky part of the bottles, and it goes well with everything is on the grill. Actually, that's a funny thing.
We do that a lot in Texas.
But it pairs very well with everything is on grill. You're right.
Yeah. But
So-
like I said, for instance, Lebanese, I like the lamb, and I think this would go well with lamb.
Yes, we love the lamb. Actually, it's many places here that they cook lamb, and that you guys have to come.
We will.
oh, we will.
We will come.
Cabrito
No doubt. We're gonna look you up, and for sure we'll come.
You know, when you I don't know if any of you ever come with Tom put up an agenda where when people come and he goes through every winery and set up some lunches and dinners, and it's very small idea of the way it is here, but it come out very well and great experience. You should come and you should do that, because Tom really knows how to do that, and he will take you from many wineries. It's some wineries that is very unique, like Viñas del Sol. Tom, remember when we were there that they opened the floor? That was so.
Santos Brujos.
Yeah, Santos Brujos.
So what Mauricio is referring to is that we organize and we work collectively as a team to host these, what we call Baja boot camps. We realize that people want to get indoctrinated to the region. We don't want it all to just be about wine all day long. It's wine, it's food. Some of it is walk around tasting. Some of it is more like classroom style. But we all work together to host these 2.5-day events. And we bring in somms and buyers and people from different organizations just so they can experience and then take that energy back to their respective markets.
Yeah, and I was referring the one of those visits we went to the winery. The ranch is called Viña del Sol, and the wine Santos Brujos. And we were in the house of the owner, and we were right at the kitchen on the table. And somehow he says, "Hey, you want to go to the winery?" Yes, of course. I mean, I was visit them along with Tom, and the folks come from the States. And he got take one wire and hook up the floor and lift it, and this gate open from the floor, and he has stairs going down in the kitchen, and the winery actually is down there.
Yes, I've seen those. There's a company out of the UK that does those. It's a big circular, basically winery down from kitchens and things like that.
I mean, literally,
No,
this is
but this is a winery, the whole winery, tanks and everything down there.
yeah. So the house sits on top of the actual winery. The entire winery and barrel room is underneath the house. So it's like the Batman of Baja. It's the craziest thing ever.
Hey, Thomas and Mauricio. Hey, are y'all on Facebook by any chance? Because I would love to friend y'all and put y'all in the group and get in contact with y'all, because y'all have amazing stuff. And oh my God, this is a great tasting.
Mauricio?
Yes, I'm on Facebook, and we are under Madera 5 or under my name, Mauricio Cantu. Either way, we have to.
Okay. We'll find you because, I think, Austin is a very foodie town. Me personally, I used to make my restaurant reservations before I made my flight reservations. So it's something that's very important to me, and you're making it sound very attractive to come to Northern Baja.
I know the next team building trip. Let's go. Let's go.
I guarantee
Reservations at El
I will put together the itinerary. You guys will all you have to do is get on a plane and get to San Diego. We are well versed in doing this.
Okay.
Just get to San Diego. We got the rest. Trust me on this.
Fantastic.
How far away are you from Cabo?
No. You're almost 16 hours from Cabo, Mauricio?
Yes,
Okay.
we are 1 hour from the border, and
From San
Cabo, if you drive down, it will be like 20 hours drive. So you get an idea. We're at the top of Baja, and they are at the last part of Baja. So it sounds like a close, but it's not really too close.
Yeah. From San Diego airport, from the airport to the border, you're about 15 minutes. Then you're roughly about an hour to Ensenada. And then if you head up valley, you're 15 minutes to the south end of the valley. So, but Mauricio's winery is located in El Sosal before you go up into the valley. So you're an hour and 30.
Yeah, the most.
From San Diego airport, más o menos?
Yes, más o menos 1 hour and a half. So it's very close. It's very convenient to fly to San Diego and just take a car and drive down here. And the experience, it will be much rich if you spend the time and come even for a couple of days.
You have to.
Day activity.
Yeah, 2.5 days minimum.
It's minimum. You will come back probably every year, or a few times to the year. But at least to have a taste, you have to come like for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, you got two types of cuisine. You got the seafood cuisine, and then you got all the meats. Oh man, it's beautiful. And then if you still got some juice at the end of the night, you go back to Ensenada, you go to Senor Frogs or Papa Bueno, and I know you boys are like, nope, never going there again. But for us,
these are all the young guys. That's too much for me.
And then there you're like, can I still have some wine?
No, Senor Frog.
But we're coming up to the hour here. Mauricio, Tomas, thank you so much. I'm going to open it up for some questions. I got one, and then I got to bounce. It's starting to pick up here. Finally, the protest is over, and we're ready to drink and unite and come in peace. So quick question. So, yeah, number one, of course, would love to help you guys get more exposure here in Texas, and would love to represent you guys in the keg format. So we've got Chris Beard here from Serendipity. Thomas, you guys already know each other. So if you guys can get it in keg, Mauricio, you and your boys, man, you have a customer already here that would be delighted to sell your product. And of course, having both of you come on site. Oh, it's starting to pick up again outside. Having both of you come on to Austin and use us as a gateway to other great restaurants, and obviously showing what you got, because they're like, wow, if they're willing to put this in keg, like imagine what their other things are. And I know keg has a interesting perception, which is what I'm trying to change. We're trying to put fine and premium wines and also interesting wines in keg that, you know, people would be like, what? I did not believe in that format. So do you guys use plastic? So you say plastic keg, one-way kegs, and do you guys have,
It would be a one-way keg.
and would you do that, or do they do that at the winery?
No, I think you could do it at the winery, no, Mauricio?
Yes, we can do it. We have it. We did it. We make one event just to see how it works, and with the Sauvignon Blanc in California, and it works pretty well. Believe me. So we done it before, and it's very easy to replicate.
I would love a white or a red or both. You know, it'd be great. And I would say, like, literally, if this happens, then we can use this as a segue to open up even more of this mentality to other producers. Because I know with the talks we had with CMV, or what is it, CMV? Yeah, Consejo Mexicano de Vitivinícola, and Domec and all the other things. They were all interested in alternative packaging, but they were waiting for the first person to do it. And I was like, it just takes one person to do it, and then people start believing in the concept and understanding the value. And for you guys, I mean, you guys are not producing so many cases, but in this case, we can still provide that positioning with by saying it's a premium type of wine in the keg format. So, I mean, that'll hurt.
Actually, Tomas represent a big portfolio of wineries. You pretty much have everything with him, but here is around 100 or more than 100 wineries. So yeah, we can very easy send the kegs. We like to try new things all the time, and seems to me like the kegs is a very new idea for young people, and we like to go with the young people so they can start drinking wine.
Absolutely. And I think Fernando, right, is from La Lomita. He wants to do something in the tasting room, like it's stuff like that can be more in-house. Because like you were saying, like if you, with tourism increasing in Baja California and Ensenada or Valle de Guadalupe, you start adding new way. I mean, tourism is hot right now, but then you keep adding new ways and innovative ways, and just keep on top of the market trends, and people will keep coming back. So anyway, I'd love to
see you guys later.
Hey,
No, thank you.
I just want to say to Thomas and Mauricio, hey, if y'all are on Facebook, y'all look our website up, Austin, Texas Wine Society. I would love for y'all to post y'all stuff to our group. We have over, I mean, between Twitter and all the stuff that we have over 1,000 followers. This is some kick-ass wine, very unique, very, you know, I have nothing but good things to say about this wine. It's just unique. You're different. It's a different experience, and for sure, I would love for y'all to join the group. Post y'all's information in the group, where to find this wine. So amazing, and this was just an amazing tasting, and I want to thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to interviewing y'all and having, you know, our people see all this stuff, and it's great time, great wine.
Yeah. And Chris, where can we find this in Austin? I mean, if I wanted more of this. And
Chris may not be on anymore.
no, Chris Beard is on.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you're on mute.
Hey, Chris, you're muted.
because he had his phone earlier because he was having.
There you go. He's on.
There.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Something happened, Chris, that we are not hearing you. Perhaps if you type it on the chat, we can read it. It can be a good idea, no?
Yeah, let's just put it this way. I have the wine in my inventory. So as far as serendipity, if they don't have it in stock or if they run out, it's easily correctable. I've got it.
Okay.
But you're largely distributing to restaurants, right?
No, you know what? I never put any constraints on my distributors. You know, I'm a consumer myself, so I would like to be in great restaurants, but we also want to be in guys that can sell wine to consumers.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So whether it's buying it through Sammy or whether there's a local retailer, I always want our wines available to consumers to be able to get, whether it be at a restaurant or at a retail shop.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
Sorry, and Thomas, the invitation is to you both. One of my side gigs is I write for a luxury lifestyle magazine. I do reviews of restaurants and reviews of wines and hotels. If you guys come to Austin, I've got a few places I can take you that will treat you very, very well.
I trust me, I'm on that. I love Austin. So for me, once it's safe for me to jump on a plane, Austin is one of the first places I would go to because I love Austin.
We've got connections in Houston that will also treat you pretty well too.
We must go, and we must take with us or send before the kegs, and we can try the few ideas.
Yeah.
I went to Texas once, well, a few times, but the last time that I went over there, I stopped in Marfa and
yeah,
Oh, that's El Paso.
West Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I end up in this place. They were selling Sauvignon Blanc from Madera Cinco, and I was so amazing. I didn't even know before I went there. So
Yeah,
it was
it's
a very nice surprise.
Yeah, but that's swamp gas and aliens, buddy.
See, Mauricio, we can even get wines to Marfa. Trust me, I'll get it.
Hey, if you could get wines to Marfa,
you can get
you can get wines anywhere.
Guys, you have no idea who you're dealing with. I will get it.
All right, this has been fantastic. Like I said, with the little bit of charcuterie that we've had here, this has been terrific. The learning about wines from Baja is fantastic. So thank you so much.
I want to, on behalf of the Austin, Texas Wine Society, and I know Wanderlust Wine Company. Oh my God, this was it was just a gem. It was like an undiscovered treasure for myself. Your wine is amazing. I'm looking forward to purchasing more of your wine through Sammy and Serendipity. Oh my God, it's just fantastic find. I appreciate Thomas and Mauricio for coming to the tasting and giving us your time and being able to, just give us wonderful education on it. This was a kick-ass tasting, and thank you again.
Oh, thank you to all of you guys, and it's very new experience for us, and it was very nice to meet you all. And was just a small talk. We still have to talk a lot about what's going on around here, but I guess it's a good introduction. But anytime we are here for you guys, and hopefully we can see you there very soon.
That would be great.
Come visit us in Baja, guys.
When we're gonna go out there and we're gonna look y'all up for sure. Like I said, please follow us.
No doubt.
Name's Jake Roos. Look me up. I would love for y'all to be in the group and post stuff. That way we could stay in contact.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you once again. Have a great rest of your weekend. Sammy, thank you for organizing this. Really appreciate it. Mauricio, for your time. Gracias.
Thank you, all you, and gracias a ustedes, amigos.
Gracias,
I
Mauricio.
will send all my info and email, so everything you need to know around my zone. Feel free to contact me, even if it's not from Madera Cinco. I will help you with pleasure.
For sure. Sammy, send me, copy me on that email.
Likewise.
Got it. All right. Austin, Texas Wine Society, Wanderlust Wine Company, Madera Cinco. Thank y'all so much. Time to get some wine drinking here at Wanderlust. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And for you guys, next weekend, so get ready.